Morning, children. Welcome to bio class. The last class we discussed about the mechanism of the heart, the blood capillaries we studied, the differences between arteries and veins I explained. In case if there are no blood platelets, what will happen in the system in case the blood capillaries get damaged? That is the topic we are going to discuss. Short note: maintenance by platelets. Okay, the last year we discussed about the blood. The blood consists of RBC, WBC, and they are called as the leukocytes, erythrocytes, and the third one is the blood platelets. They are called as the thrombocytes. We discussed everything, we learned about everything, that part is not included. A short note of the blood platelets only included this year in your syllabus. Okay, the thrombocytes, the main function is they stop the free flow of the blood. Okay, they help for the clotting of the blood during the time of the injuries. In case if any the damage occurs to the capillaries, as the veins are once again they're divided into very simple. The veins are divided into very simple, and these are called as the capillaries. And through the capillaries, the blood is distributed to the tissues and tissues to the cells. That is the process. In case if the capillaries get damaged, what will happen means immediately these blood platelets, what will happen? The blood platelets automatically they'll reach to that particular area. Okay, and they form like as a plug. Okay, plug or nothing but we'll call it as a seal. They seal that particular the gap or the particular leakage or the particular crack what it comes under the capillaries. In such a way, what will happen? They stop the hemorrhage of these capillaries or the leaking of these capillaries. Okay, that is the duty of the blood platelets. Just imagine in case if there is no blood platelets, what will happen? From all the capillaries, the leaking of the blood, it will be occurs, and that will be cause another harm to the system. So that is the reason the platelets play a role to stop the leakage of the blood from the capillaries. Got it? Okay, that's all, children. And one more short note it is given, that is about the lymph it is given. Okay, what is called as a lymph? How this lymph it will be formed? Lymph is also called as it's a tissue fluid. How this lymph it will be formed means from the capillaries, when the blood is distributing to the cell, through the capillaries what will happen? As the capillaries are the porous in nature, through the capillaries what will happen means a little amount of the plasma, a little amount of the proteins, a little amount of the blood cells, they'll escape or they'll come out. They'll come out into the cells. In between the cells it will be. So through the capillaries, see, plasma, proteins and the blood cells, they reach to this intercellular fluid. Lymph is nothing but it is an intracellular fluid, intercellular in the sense in between the cells. So from where it is coming? This is coming from the capillaries pores. Through the capillary pores, plasma, protein and the blood cells, they'll escape into the cell in between the cells, and this the fluid it will be flowed, and that particular fluid is called as lymph, or this is also called as a tissue fluid. Lymph or the tissue fluid. Okay, actually the lymph it will be just like it is similar to the plasma, but the plasma is slightly yellow in color, alkaline in nature. Whereas coming to this lymph, it is a colorless. Okay, you can say that it is similar to the plasma but a colorless, and we can say it is a less in proteins. Okay, yes. What is the main function of this lymph? Lymph is to carry the digested and absorbed fat from intestine. Let me say once again, it carries the digested and absorbed fat from the intestine. That is the main function of this lymph. Is it clear, children? That's it about the lymph. Okay, lymph is a colorless fluid and it will be formed through the capillary pores, through the capillary pores, a little amount of the plasma and the proteins and the blood cells will be escaped and they'll be settled in between the cells, that is called as intercellular fluid. It's known as an tissue fluid or an lymph fluid. Okay, is it clear, children? Yes. The next topic, how the transportation occur in plant. So far we discussed about how the transportation takes place in human beings. Now we'll learn about how the transportation takes place in plants. Okay, this transportation, what the plant required here? Plant requires the food and the water. We already studied about that in the previous classes. 9th class we discussed that. The xylem and the phloem cells. I hope you remembered. Xylem is the conduction of water by the xylem cells, the conduction of food by the phloem cells. Okay, once again they repeated that particular the topic here, how this transportation of the food and water takes place in a plant. When the plant is small, there is no much discussion regarding how the fluid it will be supplied. Why? Because the distance between the soil and the plant, when the plant is this much height, when this is the soil, the distance is a very less, easily it will be distributes the water as well as the food. So when the plant is growing up, when the plant becomes a tall trees, in the tall trees, what is there is a problem. There is a problem for the distribution of the water. Why? Because the root which is present under the soil and the leaf which is present and above the soil, there will be the more distance. Of course, if you will imagine also, just will feel like that. How it is possible for the water to be transported from the soil lower region to the top region? Yes, how it will be possible means they have, you studied in your the lower classes the term that is they have an longitudinal tubes, connecting tubes. In a higher class, if you come to the 9th, you studied that those cells are only called as, xylem has a different, the 4 types of the cells, the tracheids, vessels, xylem fibers and xylem, xylem parenchyma. Okay, let me say once again, tracheids, vessels, xylem fibers and xylem parenchyma. So all these are just like they are present like as a longitudinal connecting the tubes. With the help of that, what will happen? The water, it will be moves above directions or the forward direction. Okay, yes. How it will be takes place? The transportation of water means xylem has 3 different types of the cells. 4 cells. Tracheids and vessels are only mentioned here. Xylem fibers and then xylem parenchyma. These cells are present in the root of the plant. Okay, yes. So now how this the water it will be moves. How the water will be moved from soil to the above regions. Let me say how it will be moves means by the 4 processes helpful for the water to move, travel above direction. The first one is, we can say that an ascent of sap. Ascent of sap. Okay, yes. What is the meaning of the ascent of sap? Means from low to high region, ascending order. Ascending order, how to say, low to the higher region. Okay, yes. This ascent of sap is followed by the mechanism called as diffusion. We already know the definition of the diffusion. The movement of particles from a higher concentration to lower concentration is called as the diffusion. Okay, not only that, and we also say that they have the strong attractive forces. Okay, strong attractive forces. So what are these attractive forces means? Adhesive force, adhesive and the cohesive force. Adhesive and cohesive force. Not only that, and root also exerts the root pressure. Root exerts root pressure. Not only that, we can also say that the transpiration. The transpiration play a role for the movement of the water to be above directions. Is it clear, children? So, what is all this? Means, for example, if you see the water molecule, hydrogen, H2O, there will be the strong bond between the water, hydrogen bond. Okay, in between the 2 water molecules, there is a bond. Okay, yes. So this water in the soil, it will be formed like as a water table or water column, or we can also say that water umbrella. So whenever we given the water to the soil, what will happen? One water molecule is pushing other water molecule to be move forward direction. That is the reason I written here, the water it will be moves in the xylem cells only in one direction, that is an unidirectional. From soil it goes an upward direction. Is it clear, children? With the help of all these techniques, water it will be moved. The root itself exerts the pressure. That pressure, how you can say that the root exerts the pressure means different activities are there. You know, textbook they given one activity. That activity explains how the transpiration play a role for the water to be moved above directions. So take two pots, and in one pot just keep a stick, and another pot just keep a plant. And both the pots, one pot what is there? One pot just we arrange the stick. Take two pots like this. Okay, one pot we placed it only the stick, and another pot just we place the plant. Okay, both the parts just you covered with polythene cover, and just leave it like that and you see. So as usual you already did this particular activity. So whenever we covered this with the polythene cover, here there is no to see anything, to observe anything, we don't see anything here. So here we can see the droplets of water, it will be comes out entire the polythene cover. So what makes it? Evaporation of water through the tiny pores called as stomata. The water it will be comes out. As a result, what will that particular process only is called as a transpiration. So the transpiration, whenever the water is going out, so here the water content it will be the less. Under the soil the water content it will be the more. Obviously what will happen? The particles will move from high to low concentration with the help of, as it is the root and semi-permeable membrane osmosis. With the help of that osmosis, the particles it will be moved from a higher region to the lower regions. Okay children, is it clear? So like that what will happen means the particles will move from one region to other regions. So one more important point regarding the transpiration. The transpiration also makes that surroundings to be cool. So whenever there are plants, how you will feel coolness? Because the water droplets it will be comes out and the cool breeze comes out, then that makes that particular area to become as an cool. Okay children, so that's it about how the transportation of water it will be takes place. The conduction of water occurs by the xylem. Xylem has different cells. They form the columns, and with the help of that, the water it will be moved from lower region to higher regions. The next one is how the transportation of food it will be takes place. Okay, the transportation of the food is nothing but we will call it as a conduction of the food by the phloem cells. Okay, the phloem has four different types of cells: CV cells, CV tubes, companion cells, and phloem parenchyma. Okay, yes. So where the phloem main function is what? Conduction of the food, I said. So where the main food process it will be takes place. Okay, it has to be reached to that particular part, that is nothing but we'll call it as a leaf. From the leaf, the food has to be supplied both the directions. It has to be come to the lateral sides, it has to be come to the down, and it has to be comes to the lateral branches and the roots even. So that is the reason the food it will be passes in a bidirectional way. Okay, yes, water is unidirectional, food it will be the bidirectional way. Okay, yes, how the food it will be transport from one place to the other places. Okay, the food all the time it will be transport in the soluble products. It will be in the soluble products only. Soluble in the sense easy way, just like as it will be mixes in the juicy content, which is succulent juices which are there in the that particular area. So that particular process is called as a translocation. Children, that's the one word, the definition. This is what is called as a translocation. Translocation is nothing but transportation of soluble products of photosynthesis. What is the photosynthesis products? Carbohydrates. Carbohydrates only, it has to be stored in the form of an ATP or then starch content. That has to be supplied to all the parts. That particular method we will call it as a translocation. Not only that, the phloem is also transports It also transports some amino acids and other substances also. In a soluble way only it will be transferred. Okay, how it will be transferred? Just now I said, both the directions. One is in upward direction it has to be, and the downward direction, that is called as it's in the y directional. Okay, yes. Is for example, if you whenever the spring season begins, we will see that the plant needs an it shuts the leaves and the new leaves has to become. So from where this new leaves, during the spring the bud has to be get the ATP. From where this ATP it will be used up in those plants, means they will take the energy from the ATP which is reserved in the form that is like as called sucrose. Okay, this is bit is an important sucrose. Like a sucrose, material like sucrose is transferred into the phloem. So from how it will be transferred, energy from the ATP it will be takes and it will be supplied that the food to the buds during the spring season. Okay, so like that the transportation of the food it will be occur. So if you see the children in your textbook, they are given the diagram. Please draw that diagram, how this the flow of water it will be takes place and how the food it will be occurs. Flow of water it will be in the unidirectional and the flow of the food it will be in the both bidirectional. That's all children, that's about the end of the transport system, and the last system we are going to study in the next class, that is an excretory system. Okay, that's all. Thank you.